Good day, doodlers, and welcome to Draw Cartoons. It is time for another Discord art showcase. You guys have been as productive as ever, and I can't wait to show everyone what you've been up to. Remember that these videos are not some sort of competition, that's not the idea. Instead, these videos are to teach you a little something in my feedback on the art, as well as inspire you to draw something yourself. If you've been in that kind of rut where you just don't know what to draw, you just can't pick up a pencil and go at it, this video might be exactly what you need. If you enjoy the video, make sure you hit that blue thumbs up button. It does help me out quite a lot when you guys do that. And what helps me out even more than that is when you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, especially if you click that bell as well. Alright, without further ado guys, let's get into it. Now the first one that I wanted to talk about was this one by Obo Bango Opk. This is Bango Flydog. Now I can tell straight away this is some sort of superhero. They even have a little bird sidekick, a flowing cape, which I've got to say, you've captured the creases in that cape pretty well. They've got the mask going on, and on top of that, they've got this dynamic pose of them running straight towards the viewer, which is why I wanted to showcase this one. Drawing something coming towards the viewer is actually quite hard to pull off. You can achieve it by posing your character correctly, but also with this sense of movement and perspective. If you take a look at the feet, you'll see that one of them is really far away and the other one is really big. Well, that's because that one is coming towards us, about to take another step. Very hard to draw that indeed, but in this cartoon, I'd say you've really pulled it off. Next up, we have Floppa. Now, while the photograph is a little bit on the blurry side, we can still make out quite a lot of attention to detail here. This is the first drawing that they've ever shown us, and I wanted to point out the incredible stylization on it, as well as this very imaginative and creative mixing of colors. They've used red for shadows along the character's blue cloak, which isn't something that I would usually opt for, but somehow they've made it quite effective. That serrated weapon looks very terrifying and yet still very cartoony, so that's an unusual mix. I like the flare on your signature, and I love the almost pineapple style haircut going on here. I think this might be an original character of yours. I don't recognize them at all, and I am definitely a proponent of creativity here in this channel. Next we have a couple of drawings by Jose. I had to show both of these off because they both demonstrate something that I really wanted to talk about. This one on the left is an original character of theirs. I wanted to talk about that extremely menacing expression. Not just the grin either, but also the way that the eye is drawn, specifically the pupil. If you look at the actual pupil itself, you'll see a couple of lines, one on either side. These lines are used in cartoons quite often to express some kind of duress or desperation in the character's face. It's a very subtle change, but it's very effective. I also like the perspective of the clawed hand kind of reaching towards us here. It actually obscures a lot of the arm behind it, which really does give us this impression that they're reaching out to get us. There's a trick that you can pull here to make it even more like it's coming out towards us as well. If you were to shrink the big orange box behind the character down a little bit and draw it such that the arm was poking outside of the boundary of that orange box, it really would give this incredible sense of perspective. That's something I might have to do a tutorial on in the future. And over on the right we have a piece inspired by Battle Cats. I love the design on this one. The shape of the head is oh so very wide, and yet the face is just this adorable small shape in the very center. I love the way these arms are drawn. They're heavily stylized. The hands are just kind of these flat shapes on the end, but they're very wide and thick and just very much remind me of old video games. I like the pose too. If you look carefully, you'll see it's ever so slightly slanted to one side. Really good cartooning here, Jose. I can't wait to see more. SquidTheBanana is back, and this one really blew me away. They've been watching the animated series on Netflix, which inspired this piece of course, and I've got to say, I love basically everything about this. Very thoughtful on the actual colour of the line work, I love the poses, and I especially love the lighting. The source of light is from the very centre, it's from the devil's eyes, and this is reflected on the characters themselves as well. They've got this incredible yellow glow coming from the middle of the picture. This is something that's actually quite easy to do if you know how, but it isn't easy to make it look really good, and that is what SquidTheBanana has managed here. On top of that, they've managed to pull off a very cool triad color scheme. Red, blue, and yellow all fit perfectly in a triangle from each other from the color wheel. This means that they have the potential to work very well on your canvas when they are the dominant colors. That's exactly what they've done here, and I'm pretty sure it was intended. SquidTheBanana, this looks like borderline official artwork. I'm really pleased with this. Now here is a supremely busy piece by Arav. I love to see work like this. All ink, very, very busy, lots of detail, just tons of stuff to look at. Pieces like this take a very, very long time to compose. It's also quite difficult to nail that flow from one drawing to another. It takes quite a lot of imagination and also a little bit of forward planning. Also, looking at this made me quite hungry for junk food. I took one look at the burger and chips and the pizza and I was like, yeah, okay, I know what I'm ordering tonight. You didn't even need any color to do that to me, so I don't know if that says more about me or you. Anyway, this is superb. It doesn't really need the color, but I do wonder what it would look like with it. JamesThe Husky is back and they've given us this piece which has an absolute array of lovely colours on it. It's very well drawn, we've got some rainbows going on, we've even got like a reflection of light on the visor of the space helmet as well. The shadow underneath the head, just on the neck there, is also a good touch. I think it is the only shadow in the piece though. Actually, maybe there's a little bit on the hair over there as well. But the creases on the outfit are looking superb. James, I'd love to see a little bit more shadow work on this, you know, like shading and lighting and stuff like that. I think it would really amplify the piece. But yeah, great work. Okay, now these two by Nurf really caught my eye. The stylization on these is absolutely superb. Wherever I look on these pieces, my eye is always drawn to specific parts. The expressions, the fire underneath the UFO, that crazy tongue on the right. The shadow work is messy but also organized in a strange way. The shadows are simple but complete. These facial expressions don't hold anything back either, especially the one on the right. You've got these almost like particle effects flying off the character, you know, the eyebrows up in the air and you've got the spittle kind of flying off the tongue. The fire looks great. How did you make the fire look that good with like 3 colors? How did you do that? All in all, Nurf, I haven't got any critique for you. I think these are absolutely spectacular. I can't wait to see more. I wanted to show this one off by Doom just to kind of mix things up a little bit. We haven't had any semi-realistic portraits in this video yet, and this one of Iron Man really caught my eye. There's great progress going on here. I love the way you've drawn the way the neck kind of transitions down towards the shoulders. It's maybe slightly long, but it really just doesn't look bad, and sometimes it's fine for things to be incorrect if it simply looks better. I'm not sure if his pupils are in the original reference piece or not, but that doesn't really subtract from the piece either. Also, I've gotten quite into Marvel lately, so I just felt the need to rep it a little bit. Doom, you're always doing really good sketches like these. Keep them up. Carol, can I just say your signature rocks? Look at that. The whole carrot aesthetic, that's amazing. I love that. Anyway, onto the actual drawing by Carol the Carrot. I absolutely love the way that you drew the hands, the face, and the hair in particular. Hair is actually very deceptively hard to draw. You can get lost in drawing the direction of the hair in the way that you actually want to, and it can end up, you know, too messy and too disorganized. But here you've kind of kept things quite simple. You've even got like a nice shimmer of light right across the center, which really accentuates the hair. The fingers are good. Maybe they're a little bit small, but I do know that is something in anime that you see a lot. The fingers generally are very small on the characters, so I think that's actually quite intended. I can see that you spent a really long time on this one. The symmetry is pretty good in this as well, but symmetry isn't necessary in your art. You should feel free to really kind of bend things out of shape here and there and get it looking different on one side to the other. It just gives you more to look at. But then again, Carol, you're not a stranger to that. Really good as always. And we don't just draw cartoons over here in Draw Cartoons, despite the name of the channel. We also draw realistic things, including realistic apples. Now the stalk is a little bit thick on this, a bit thicker than I would have expected, but everything else is looking great. I love that little leaf. The shape of the apple is pretty much bang on, and also with your pencil, you've given this sense of depth going on. You've got a bit of a lighter part in the top right and a darker part along the edges, especially towards the bottom left. But this isn't, strictly speaking, exactly how light works on rounded objects. You would have slightly more light on the bottom left, and I can see that you've tried to do that, but it doesn't really show up in the photograph very well. You really have to squint at an actual apple. If you place an apple on your desk, you really do have to squint at it to understand how the light is positioned along the object, depending on where the light's coming from, of course. So, Mushy Waffles, this is a lovely start, and I encourage you to take a look at more fruit and try drawing them, particularly apples as well, because they do have that interesting sort of rounded shape. And keep sketching them and keep analyzing the shapes of the shadows upon them. And last but certainly not least, we are returning to cartoons, this one by Anhao. I wanted to show this one off because of the extremely cartoony proportions on this character. Those limbs are very, very narrow and thin, and yet the body and the head are huge. This is very traditional to cartoons, and I love to see it. Also, the creases in the t-shirt as well to show that the character's got a bit of a portly shape. That's a good touch. The one thing that I would say you could adjust, and it should be easy given that you've worked digitally here, maybe you could move the face more towards the center of the head, or just kind of reposition it and see where it works. The head shape does kind of imply to me that the face would be in the middle, and that's the only real reason why I say that. And that's that. I hope you felt inspired by this video. The art that people are kicking out in the Discord just keeps getting better and better. There's so much to talk about each time, and I just can't quite cram it all into a single video. Remember guys, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. A comment would be great as well. I'd love to know still, even in the comments of these videos, these showcase videos, it would be great to know what you guys want to learn how to do next. There is so much stuff I haven't covered yet, so keep those ideas coming. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already guys, and if you hit that bell, you will get notifications for every video that comes through. That's it for this time guys, so I will catch you next time.